The Rays' bats have cooled off recently at home, as Tampa Bay has struggled to a 2-6 record on the current stand. Tonight, Evan Longoria and the Rays look to turn things around against hard-throwing right-hander Carlos Carrasco and the Indians. Tonight's Wednesday Showdown is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. We welcome you to Tropicana Field. Tonight the Rays continue this homestand, and it has been a difficult stretch for the Rays. They dropped the first 2 games of the series to the Cleveland Indians, and 3 in a row, and 7 of their last 9. Hi again, everyone, with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you with us. Well, one thing out of this, the American League East is quite a race indeed. Now just a half game separates the top 4 teams in this division. The Rays share a part of first place with Baltimore again tonight. And BA, for the Rays, offense has been the issue.
Well, they've been struggling. There's no question about that. Struggling mightily. If you look at their last 9 games across the board, numbers that jump out, less than 2.5 runs a game. Runners in scoring position, rearing its ugly head once again. And in this series, this 2-game series against the Indians, they're just 5 for 58 against Indian pitching. But on the bright side, there is one guy who's gotten it going. I mean, it was 2 weeks ago, whereas Asdrubal Cabrera's batting average had dipped below the Mendoza line, was at 199. Since then, he has gone off. Last 12 games, a 356 average, 5 runs driven in, a couple of home runs, just 5 at-bats from the right side, but 3 hits. Most of that damage coming from the left side. Right now, Asdrubal Cabrera getting it done. He needs some help.
And the Rays are hoping tonight is the night that they can give Alex Colomé some offensive support. Colomé will be on the hill for the Rays, looking for his 4th win of the year. Todd Callis will be back with more on the Rays right-hander in a moment.
dugout. It'll be Carlos Carrasco on the mound for the Indians. And for the Rays, it'll be Alex Colomé. Colomé's best opponent in terms of his short career has been the Cleveland Indians. Consider this. Last year in game 161, he went into the 7th inning, was removed with 79 pitches. Then in his start 10 days ago, same place, Progressive Field in Cleveland, brilliant. 7 innings of 1 hit, no run baseball, walked a couple, struck out 4, 87 pitches. His pitch efficiency has been off the charts against Cleveland. He has struggled against other teams with command, but against Cleveland, he has been on point. So Colomé makes his 3rd career start against the Indians with 13 1/3 scoreless innings to this point. Don't forget, it is a Web Wednesday, which means you can ask a question of the announcers tonight. Dwayne Stats and Brian Anderson have all the answers. Here's what you do. You tweet your questions to @SunSportsRays with the hashtag AskRays, or email your questions to sunsportsrays@gmail.com. Dwayne's reading up for all the answers, and BA's getting a phone a friend answer as we speak. We're ready for baseball in 3 minutes and 30 seconds exactly as the Rays take on the Indians tonight. Looking for their 3rd win on this homestand. They still remain in a share of first place despite losing 7 of the last 9. We'll have all the action for you right around the corner on Sunsport.
At Tropicana Field tonight, the Rays will send the right-hander Alex Colomé to the mound. Charged with trying to break this 3-game losing streak, get the Rays back on track, and hopeful of getting some support from the Rays lineup. Meanwhile, the Cleveland lineup, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Jason Kipnis continues to hit out of the leadoff spot, red hot. He'll be followed by Mike Aviles at short, and then Michael Brantley hits third in left field. The DH is David Murphy. Carlos Santana is at first. Brandon Moss in right field. Giovanni Urshela at third base. He's carrying a 9-game hitting streak. Michael Bourne's at center hitting 8th. Catching hitting 9th is Roberto Perez.
Well, Alex Colomé looking to get back into the win column. This is a guy in his last 7 starts, 4 times he's given up 2 earned runs or fewer, and all he has to show for it is a record that's 0-2. And oh, by the way, his team has lost every single one of those starts. So this is the guy, the way things have been going for the Rays, that you look to turn it around, because it certainly doesn't look that way on paper right now. Let's take a look at the defenses. He's going to line up behind Alex tonight, brought to you by BMW. In the outfield, left to right, we have Joey Butler, Kevin Kiermaier, and Steven Souza Jr. Across the infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Asdrubal Cabrera, Logan Forsythe, and Mark Krause, with Kurt Casale once again behind the plate.
So here we go tonight with Colome on the hill, making his 13th start, and here is Jason Kipnis, who homered in the game here last night. Third leading hitter in the American League. And the first pitch of this game is up and away. First pitch presented by Pinch a Penny. 2-0. Kipnis connected in the third inning last night. Hit it out to right.
Well, so often we've seen Kipnis go the other way against Rays pitching, but he got a breaking ball there from Ramirez working its way back towards him and got underneath it and lifted it right out of here.
It's a strike. 2-1. Hot shot back of first. Krause will make the play himself, and he beats Kipnis in to retire the Indians' leadoff man. Boy, that ball was sharply hit. Krause in the right spot.
He was right on the line, as you can see, taking away that particular hit right there, but then realizing quickly that Alex Colome, no way he's going to be able to get there in time, and so Krause in a foot race to beat Kipnis to the bag.
Mike Avila's in at shortstop. He can play all over the place for the Indians, and was hitting .257 with some pop in his bat. First pitch is a strike.
Well, the Rays became familiar with Mike Aviles from his time with the Boston Red Sox. They have a good idea what he likes to do, what his strengths are.
The pitch is down. It's 1-1. Just a handful of pitches from Colome tonight, but so far he's pitching quickly. In fact, he's taking about half as much time between pitches as he has averaged this year.
And there's no way that he's doing that except by design. And that's not just something that you roll out. You've got a certain tempo that you're used to dealing with. And obviously, in talking with Jim Hickey and maybe even Kevin Cash, you say, hey, listen, let's pick the tempo up at least until runners get on base. If you want to slow it down a little bit at that point, then so be it. But with nobody on, we've got a good idea what the game plan is. Let's get after it.
Well, he's been the slowest in the major leagues.
Yeah.
Over 26 seconds between pitches. So far, he's been right around 12 or 13. A popper on the infield. Forsythe will make the call and the catch. 2 gone.
Well, and you can also look at it as working slowly hasn't helped. You know, he's thrown some good games. His last start against the Indians, and that was 2 starts ago, you know, he went 7 shutout, gave up 1 hit.
Retired the first 17 men he faced.
Picking the wrong days.
That's why when you mentioned in his last 7 starts, the Rays have lost all of them.
Yep.
That's hard to get your head around.
Yeah.
Because he's at times pitched extremely well.
You've got 2 starting pitchers here tonight that have done the same thing, and that's in 4 of their last 7 starts. They've given up 2 earned or fewer. Carrasco is 5-2. Colome is 0-2, and the team's lost all 7. Carrasco's gotten run support. Colome's got 2.87 runs of support per start. Not good.
1-0, stroked into left. Joey Butler is there to make the catch. It's a 1-2-3 first. We go to the Rays half where Kevin Kiermaier will rest atop the lineup, and he'll be leading off the Rays' bottom half of the first. in April. Take a look at the Rays starting lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Kevin Kiermaier, then Joey Butler and Evan Longoria. David DeJesus, Logan Forsythe, and Steven Souza Jr. down the middle. As Asdrubal Cabrera, Mark Krause, and Kurt Casale completing the lineup for the Rays.
Well, and for Carlos Carrasco taking the start tonight for the Cleveland Indians the 16th time. Let's do a little math right here. 15 starts, a record of 9-6. That's something you don't see very often. He has figured in every single decision.
Kiermaier comes out swinging and fouls it away down the left side for a strike. Off the plate in, 1-1. The Rays saw Carrasco up in Cleveland. He was in 40 games for this team a year ago, 14 of those for starts when he went 8-7. And he has simplified his approach. Very basic.
Both guys, both guys, Carrasco and Colome, starting out of that modified stretch where they really try to simplify the delivery in order to attain a repeatable delivery.
The left side again. This one will bound into the stands. Well, that made a big difference for Carrasco. Gave him better command.
Well, we coming into the start, you look, how can this offense get going? Well, this is a guy, 19 walks in 88 2/3. He's going to be around the plate. He has a good fastball, likes to use it. You expect this offense to attack and attack early against him. I think that when you're in a slump like the Rays are in right now, you go back over the last 9 games, you go back just this series, they're hitting .086 in the series. 2 games in, you need to get back to that aggressive mindset.
And a cut and a miss. Pitch with some bite to it. And Carrasco picks up a strikeout.
Now let's take a quick look at the Indians defense, see how it's going to line up. Brought to you by BMW. In the outfield left to right, Michael Brantley, Michael Bourne, and Brandon Moss. Across the infield third to first, we have Giovanni Urshela, Micah Viles, Jason Kipnis, and Carlos Santana with Roberto Perez behind the dish.
And Joey Butler gets a start, first time in this series. The pitch inside. Butler hitting .315 right now. It's 1-1. That's a good slider right there.
He throws it hard. He's in that Chris Archer range of velocity. Not the same depth, but certainly enough velocity.
A 2-ball, 1-strike count.
That's why when you look at the Cleveland Indians starters ERA as a group, you wonder how it's so high. Obviously Cody Anderson hasn't been in there the whole time, but Carrasco, Salazar last night, Corey Kluber, power right-handed arms.
And now it's 2-2, and he had Butler reaching for that. Butler was 2 for 3 against Carrasco in the game. Carrasco started against the Rays in Cleveland. Home run the first time up, and a single later in the game. Ground ball right side. Stopped by Santana. Throw to first. And Carrasco finds the bag to complete the out. Santana was well off the bag at first. That enabled him to make the play.
They had Joey Butler defense perfectly, knowing that he is an up the middle, the other way type of guy. You give him the first base line. Not worried about that. You're worried about the one in the hole. But look at Carlos Santana close quickly, and then a good feed to Carrasco to complete the out.
Base is empty for Evan Longoria. He did not go. Bill Miller down at first. The crew chief, Adrian Johnson, is calling the balls and strikes tonight. Upstairs, 2-0.
That can be frustrating. I don't know how else to say it. 2 fastballs miss up in the zone, and all of a sudden Evan Longoria thinking he's going to come down with one, and he comes with a hard slider.
Well, that shows you the confidence he has in that pitch, and it's been a big part of his success.
He's got that great combination of high octane, high velocity heat, and actually a very hard slider to boot.
Chopper towards short. Aviles makes the throw to get Longoria. Strikeout and 2 ground balls. 3 up, 3 down. Through 1, no score. Toyota, let's go places. And by Morgan Auto Group. Make it Morgan. We make it happen. Rays home in the beautiful Tampa Bay area here. 1 date left on this stand tomorrow afternoon. Tonight they have Alex Colomé on the hill against Carlos Carrasco. And David Murphy, the DH for Cleveland, leads off the 2nd inning. The pitch is a strike. Murphy homered last night in the 8th inning of that game. His 5th home run of the year, leaving him with 99 career home runs. There's a soft liner into right for a base hit. Souza Jr. with the pickup, and Murphy has the first hit of the game.
Well, not quite fooled by that Colomé changeup. And you see it right here, that little 3-finger prong. And he's able to keep that bat in the strike zone long enough and flip it out into right field for a leadoff single. And let's have a little something working here now.
Carlos Santana. He takes the ball.
Right now you're worried about making good pitches. David Murphy not a real threat to run, and it really almost doesn't matter anyway. As quick as Colome is to the plate, doesn't give up many stolen bases. Quality pitches to Carlos Santana, though, because he's a hitter. Pretty good idea of the strike zone. He's not going to go outside of it early.
2-0. You know, that changeup interesting to Murphy, because in the start he made against the Indians in Cleveland, he just overpowered him with hard stuff.
That is making an adjustment before you need to. And sometimes that happens when you pitch against a team. We often talk about pitching against a team in back-to-back starts, but even so, 2 starts ago. And so you have a line like that, and then you go out there and think, well, they may be expecting this, so maybe I'll. No, until they show you otherwise, you go out and do what you did to get that line.
Yeah, you outthink yourself.
You do. You do.
And there's ball 4. So a walk follows the base hit. 2 men on with nobody out.
You may tweak your game plan here or there, but typically you only do that when you've got a long track record against a team. You know, if it's a team that hasn't seen a whole lot of you and you dominate them, then the idea would be, I'm going to do pretty much the same thing, have the same approach. But understand that if they're quick to make the adjustment, I've got to have an answer for it right away.
Yeah, they'll let you know soon enough.
Amen.
Brandon Moss. There's a strike. Moss hitting .229. He has 12 home runs. And we talked about him up in Cleveland, the power he has. He may not always hit for a high average, but boy, he can give the ball a ride. And we saw him in batting practice today hit the C ring out in right center field. I mean, that's a pretty good shot any way you slice it.
Yeah, leaving in right center field is a pretty good shot. C-ring in right center field is a bomb, a mammoth bomb.
Shot up the right side toward the corner. One hop off the sidewall, rolling away from Souza. Murphy's headed to the plate. Throw comes all the way through, not in time. On the 2-base hit by Moss, Murphy scores and the Indians lead 1-0.
Moss able to keep that ball fair, get it down into the corner, and as it rattled around, another changeup here by Colome, and Moss not too far behind. I'll tell you, we've seen that this series and this homestand. Guys with really good fastballs going to changeups early in the ball game before that fastball's been established. It's not going to be as effective. That's just the bottom line, and the results continue to show that.
So 2-run score. Santana following Murphy across the plate on the double. And a swing and a miss by Urshela. So the base hit by Murphy, the walk to Santana, and the double into the right field corner. And the Indians grab a 2-0 lead with Urshela and his 9-game hitting streak in the box right now.
I'm starting to wonder if that's going to be our Toyota trend. Early in the game, early in the count changeups.
You're wondering.
Well, they're not working, and there's a reason why they're not working. Nothing's been established.
Fly ball into right. Souza's there to make the catch. Moss trying to go to third, and he's going to get in there ahead of the throw. So a man at third with 1 out.
Deep breath. Calm down. There's a lot of game left.
Top of the second here.
Man,
right.
You don't need to be all frothy already.
The infield's going to come in. Well, and the fact that the offense has been struggling lately makes these situations seem all the more urgent. Michael Bourne up here. Takes a pitch down.
You know, it's always been the rule of thumb with that changeup that unless you have a long established track record with a team or a particular hitter, and on top of the fact you've got a good fastball that teams have to be wary of, you just don't go to that pitch early in counts early in the game. It just has a tendency to not work out because the hitter's not playing that pitch off of anything else, and so he's more apt to be on it. And we've seen that here in the last week. How many times have Rays pitchers been burnt by that? Too many.
And now Colomé is behind Michael Bourne. Three balls, no strikes. It's Roberto Perez on deck. Three and one. Into left, short left. Moss went back to tag just to draw the throw. And Bourne is the second out.
And that's great defensive positioning of Joey Butler. Michael Bourne, if he's going to go the other way, it's going to be more than likely shallow. And so you're thinking about that line drive, taking that away from him. And by doing so, you're in perfect position to keep Moss at third.
Two outs, and here's the young catcher, Perez. Perez missed the breaking ball, strike one. Perez was in the game when Colomé pitched against the Indians in Cleveland. Was 1 for 3 in the game and 0 for 2 against Colomé. And down in the count, 0-2 right now. So the Rays trying to limit the damage to just the 2-run scoring on the double by Brandon Moss. Upstairs, fastball, 1-2. Pretty close right there. Very close with that fastball. Colomé wanted that pitch.
Well, he's thinking he's got Roberto Perez looking out over, so he comes fastball in and maybe just a hair too far.
And to right, Souza Jr. right there for it to retire the side. Damage limited to 2 runs, a man left. 2-0 Cleveland.
here on Sun Sports, and of course it is Web Wednesday, so if you tweet or go to Gmail and ask your questions for the announcers, Dwayne and BA, the two smartest guys in the building, will have answers for you. Guys, here's our first question of the night. How do the Rays set their lineup on a daily basis, specifically for the designated hitter? We see David DeJesus playing tonight, but how do the Rays rotate in Joey Butler and now even Grady Sizemore, fellas?
All right, before we answer that question, here's a strike call to David DeJesus. We disavow, and this is our disclaimer about that comment about the two brightest guys in the building. Neither one of us in any circumstance, way, or form subscribe to that analysis.
I think Rich Hollenberg was right on the money, Dwayne, and I think that we are in this building.
We are in the building.
That being said,
that's all. Yeah.
Well, I think when you start to look at the Rays lineup, a lot of it is based off matchups. Particular matchups, the starting pitcher, right-handed, left-handed, who's going to be in the outfield. Sometimes you gotta play these guys in the outfield to get their bat in a lineup because you're going to DH somebody else, based on pitching matchups. And, I think a lot of that comes down to. Listen, Big Blue's got a good idea about things. And your idea is to take what Big Blue spits out, put it against what you're seeing from these hitters, and formulate a lineup.
Well, it's the information age, to be sure. Kipnis will make this pickup, and DeJesus is the first out. And you see more and more clubs, and the Rays are really on the forefront of that and continue in their own way to find new ways to look for advantages in that regard. There's a ton of information that goes into what these teams do now. And so the idea of having one DH and putting him in there day in and day out, those days, if they're even still here, those days are numbered.
You have a handful of teams where you're going to use that. You think about the Red Sox with Ortiz. That's what he's going to do. He's going to DH, period, end of discussion. Other than that, it's matchups. And you go back, you say, well, why not Sizemore and DeJesus out there and Joey Butler's on the bench? Well, you talked about it the last time he faced Carrasco. He blew that home run up to center field, right center field. So you're looking for some offense. The guy's been sitting for a little bit, has shown the ability to hit lefties and righties. So you run him out there. Has a track record from 10 days ago. Other than that, I don't have a clue.
Well, I subscribe to, as that applies to me, that's the opinion I subscribe to. I'm not sure that I have much of a clue either. But I would put forth the contention that teams in the information age, by and large, would prefer not to have one DH in there in the same spot every night. The Red Sox, I think, are different because Ortiz, the one thing he can do for you, he's not going to help you in any other way other than hit, and he does a great job of that. But it so limits your roster in terms of versatility. And we've talked about that from the day this team started to make the turn. Versatility was such a part of that. And I think it lends itself to every bit of the roster. And very few times are you going to get players who are going to be in one spot in the lineup day in and day out. One spot defensively. The Rays have Longoria because he's so great at third. He's like that. Sue's out on strikes through 2. It's 2-0 Cleveland. you can only see on Fox Sports 1, beginning at 12:30. Then at 7 p.m., it's Baseball Night in America as the Marlins square off against the Cubs on your local Fox station. Fox and Fox Sports 1, your home for baseball every Saturday. How about these for standings? Top 4 teams separated by a half game in the American League East. Toronto beat Boston 11-2 to make that scenario in play. Base hit on the first pitch to Kipnis to open the third. So he is 1 for 2 and on here in the third inning.
Well, Jason Kipnis continues to swing not only a hot bat, but a scalding hot bat against the Tampa Bay Rays. He came into this ball game 10 for 19, now 11 for 21.
Mike Gaviles takes the first pitch for a strike. Colomé immediately out of the stretch, giving up the pitch or the hit on the first pitch to Kipnis. We saw in the standings the Rays tied with Baltimore. Games through 3 in Baltimore, with Texas leading 1-0 on a home run by Shin-Soo Choo off Wei-Yin Chen. Tapper foul. 2 strikes the count on Aviles.
Well, 2 days in a row, the Rays, 2 of their ugliest games of the year, but fortunately for them, Baltimore lost, the Yankees had lost, Toronto had lost. What that does mean is Boston's won a couple, and they're starting to hang around, sneak back into it.
The Red Sox, running 5th in the division, started the day 6 back, so they'll be right now 6.5 after losing to the Blue Jays. But the Blue Jays and the Yankees each a half game back of the Rays and the Orioles. Boy, this division has turned out pretty much the way we thought it would be. I remember, I think, one of the telecasts we did in the spring talking about what the East might look like, and the idea that, you know, at the beginning of the week, one team might be in first. At the end of the week, the team that was in 3rd or 4th or 5th might be in first by the end of that week. And that's the way it appears that it's stacking up. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And you're closing in on almost halfway through the schedule as far as games played. And it's as tight, well, it's almost opening day tight. Top 4 teams a half a game.
Yeah, this is the 80th game of the year for the Rays.
Yeah.
Ground ball, that's going to get through into left, just out of the reach of Cabrera. Kipnis stops at second. 2 men on with nobody out. Time to check in with Todd Callens. Todd?
All right, Dwayne, report from Bradenton's McKechnie Field, where tonight Jake Odorizzi was making his first rehab start. Remember, he left the game 3.5 weeks ago in Seattle. And tonight, Odorizzi goes 4 innings, allows just the 1 run on a couple of hits. Had pretty good control throughout the night. Guys, he would love to come back after this 1 rehab start, but more than likely the Rays are going to have another one in mind. By the way, that game started out with John Jaso with a ground rule double, followed up by an RBI single by James Loney. So the Stone Crabs are stacked tonight. But it'll be great to see Odorizzi back. He provided some much-needed length in that starting rotation, guys.
Yeah, you're right about that in the rotation. The Rays will get Matt Moore back tomorrow afternoon here against Corey Kluber. Michael Brantley, the hitter, down and in goes that first pitch, ball one. And so the Rays are starting to see some light at the end of that disabled list tunnel.
Well, the tough part will then be they're coming, and they're coming onto the roster, and so then you'll have some tough decisions on who's going to be moved around, who's going to be moved down. Better decisions than they previously had to make.
Yeah, well, you know, the idea was when Cobb first went down, and then Odorizzi, and you knew Moore was going to eventually be here. You didn't know exactly when. They lose Jaso. They've lost Loney twice to the DL. The idea was just stay close. Well, they've accomplished that and more. I mean, here they are sharing first place, playing their 80th game of the year. It's been a pretty remarkable run to this point. Now we'll see what happens as the Rays get some of this frontline talent back over the next week or so. And you're right. I mean, tough decisions. You really want to be in position where you have to make those kind of tough decisions.
Well, and the one thing that we'll do for sure, I mean, you're going to upgrade your team in certain areas, but you're going to make it deeper too, because you figure the guys from the starting rotation that you move, you know, to the bullpen, you would assume is going to make that bullpen deeper.
Base hit into right. Souza's going to charge it. Kipnis will head to the plate. Throw sails up the line and all the way to the backstop. There will be men at second and third as Colomé had to run down that throw. As Kipnis scores, Brantley singles him home and winds up at second.
And there was a couple of things wrong with this. Number one, you know, the base hit, the ball stays middle of the plate. Michael Brantley rips it over into the hole. Souza Jr. is going to overshoot anybody, but Alex Colomé, he doesn't factor in. He's backing up like directly behind home plate. That's not where the throw is going to come from. So he was completely out of position on top of that, and that's why he wasn't there to get the overthrow by Souza Jr. A lot went wrong for the Rays on that particular play. Bad location on the pitch. Souza Jr. with the throw. Colomé not really sure where he's going. Base hit to right. Now he's going to circle back around, but the throw coming from right field is not going to be anywhere near there. That's about where it's going to end up. So a lot of mistakes made on that particular play.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts and not necessarily in the right direction.
No, not at all.
So Jim Hickey out to try to settle things down a little bit with a run home. 2 men in scoring position and nobody out in the third.
And this is where you start to get a team that's not playing well, a lot of young players, guys looking to make plays and really going outside of what they should be doing.
David Murphy sends a fly ball to left. Butler's going to catch it. Viles will tag, and he's going to score. And that makes it 4-0. Sacrifice fly, the RBI number 22 for Murphy. I think the point you make about young players trying to do more in a certain situation that's possible is certainly applicable here. There were comments made by Steven Souza Jr. Offense not producing, and he said that's on me. Well, he does have an offer going, but you know, if you look up and down this lineup, there are about 3 or 4 or 5 offers going. It's not only Souza, but a young player is going to take that and try to carry it on his own shoulders, and there's room enough for that to be spread around.
And I mean, listen, the Rays have hit in 20 innings in this series. They have 5 hits. So you're right. He's one of many that are having a bad go of it right now.
1 strike to count on Santana. Then the pitch is down. Yeah, we'll take a listen to what Souza has had to say about that here in this inning. We'll get to that. It's not just him, but there's a tendency to wear that individually.
Well, and then other parts of your game can sometimes suffer. Okay, I'm not getting hits, but I'll fire someone out at the plate, and it'll become, I'm not being a run producer right now. I'll be a run preventer. Well, airmail the throw. Everybody moves up a base. Pitcher's in the wrong spot.
1-2. Steven Souza Jr. out there in right field. Well, you like that because they care and they're willing to be responsible, but sometimes you just wear it more than you should.
It's a learning process, and learning at the big league level sometimes can be harsh.
Two the count on Carlos Santana. A pop-up on the infield. Colomé is going to wind up making the catch. How about that? So they get the second out on Santana. We'll go back to that catch in a moment, but here's Souza and his willingness to take maybe more responsibility than he should.
I feel like a lot of the responsibility falls on me. It's been unacceptable the way I've been at the dish right now. A lot of guys are doing a lot of great things, and just seems like I'm not coming through in situations, and that's on me. And I'm going to try and work from here, and I'm going to get better. I can promise that. But we're going to grind through this, and we're going to be just fine.
Brandon Moss fouls it out of play. There's a strike. Well, and as we mentioned, you can go up and down the lineup. There are hitters who have contributed, who've had great stretches, and now we'll tell you, they're not going as well as they'd like to go right now. It's a team. Teams succeed together, and they struggle together, and that's what the Rays offense is doing right now. A 2-strike count to Moss. Colomé retired Santana. Caught that pop-up. Brantley at second. Two runs have scored in the third. Brantley doubled in 2 in the second. I should say Moss doubled in 2 in the second. Brantley singled home a run in the third, and Murphy with the fly ball to right scored the other run. There's Michael Brantley on second right now. And a cut and a miss. Moss out on strikes. That retires the side. 2-run score. It's 4-0 Cleveland. Use the hashtag #SSDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Cabrera will lead it off against Carlos Carrasco. Mark Krause next, and then Kurt Casale. Rays playing catch-up, down by 4. Carrasco has retired the first 6 he has faced. And is behind Carrasco, 1 and 2.
Boy, Carrasco has that cutter slash slider. It almost looks like a cutter sometimes, but 90 to 92 on velocity, and he has it working against righties and lefties here in the early going, not making too many mistakes at all.
And he takes care of Cabrera in short order right there for his 3rd strikeout of the night.
And that's one of those, you call whatever you want. Boy, it looks like he gets on the outside of it, and that's a little cutter. 91, 92 miles an hour, very subtle movement, but it takes it right under the swing of Asdrubal Cabrera. It's a very similar pitch that he got Kevin Kiermaier with, and he's been sweeping it away from the righties.
He just struck out the hottest hitter in the Rays lineup, and a guy who was 2 for 3, including a home run off him up in Cleveland. Here's Mark Krause.
That started in Cleveland. He gave up 10 hits. Did pitch 6 2/3 innings, but the stuff tonight in the early going, much better.
Well, there's a pitch to a left-handed hitter that you just lose sight of.
You don't want to get beat in, and you don't want to get beat in with 95, 96. So that ball looks like it's starting to come in, and you got to start your swing quickly. And before you realize it, it's 90, and it's cutting and sliding, and it's too late at that point. If he executes it, you end up swinging right over the top of it.
A 2-1 count to the Rays' first baseman. 2 and 2 on the foul ball. Krause, 1 of 8 for the Rays in the handful of games he's been here. And the count goes full. Krause out on strikes. That's number 4. Grab a seat at the ballpark Sunday, July 12th. The Rays host the Astros. And all kids 14 and under receive a Rays inflatable chair while supplies last. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. There's Kurt Casale. Big cut and a miss. Missed the fastball in the mid-90s. And strike 2. Danny Salazar started last night's game, was dominating. Carrasco showing signs of being the same way tonight.
This is something that we talked about midway through game 1 of this series. As well as Cody Anderson was throwing, hey, fellas, not going to get any easier. Salazar, you know what he can do. Carrasco, you know what he can do. The guy tomorrow, maybe better than all of them. And Kluber, reigning Cy Young Award, power righty. I mean, Rays need to figure something out and figure it out in a hurry.
Yeah, that's a pretty good run of pitching right there they can throw at you.
It makes you wonder how they're double digits out in their division. And why maybe this is a team you don't quite shut the door on quite yet. If they can get that kind of dominant starting pitching.
Well, it'd be hard to when we've seen what we've seen from their pitching. They have not been to the 500 mark since April the 10th when they were 2-2. High fly ball to center. Michael Bourne lost it and found it again. Well, he was in big trouble there and was showing the panic, but he caught it, and the Rays are up and down in order for the 3rd straight inning to start this game. We go to the 4th. It's 4-0 Cleveland. And police officers throughout Tampa Bay. On duty, Officer Carruthers encountered a young boy and his siblings who had experienced a lifetime of tragedy. She rallied her own family to provide the children with a wonderful Christmas they've never experienced before. We raise up for our heroes. How do you raise up? Giovanni Urshela takes a strike. 4th inning is underway. Urshela 0 for 1. Colomé with a little over 50 pitches now. 2 pitches into the 4th. Into center. That's going to fall for a base hit. Kiermaier angling to his left to get in front of that one. And that's a 10-game hitting streak for Urshela.
Well, now the 3rd straight inning that the Indians have put the leadoff man aboard. Another fastball mistake. That ball on the outer half, just above the belt. Urshela right on top of it. And boy, does he shoot this ball out there with some authority. And here we go again.
Now Michael Bourne Fouls this one out of play for a strike. We've only seen Urshela, and he hasn't been up that long. He's been in just 19 games. This is his 20th game, and we've seen him in the handful of games against the Indians. He looks like a pretty nice player. He can swing the bat.
They're pretty happy right now with what's going on the left side of that infield with Urshela and Lindor getting most of the bulk of the playing time at short and third, and then even Michael Brantley out in left field. They're starting to put together some pieces here. You think about Kipnis over at second base, Yan Gomes, for the most part, their everyday catcher. They absolutely do have some pieces.
Well, as we mentioned, he's been in 20 games, Urshela, since he was recalled from the minor leagues, and he's been on base in 18 straight games for them. We've seen him hit the ball with power to left. We've seen him go the other way. Three and one to count. I mean, he's got good contact and good power. Three one to count on Bourne. There's a base hit pulled through the right side. Urshela stops at second, and the first two men are on base. So this is a repeat of the previous 2 innings so far.
You don't need the same ending, and that's been a 2-run inning for the Indians in the second and the third. This pitch meant to be away is yanked down and in, and Bourne just drops the head, finds a hole on the right side.
And another trip to the mound for Jim Hickey.
Well, you're just trying to coach Alex Colomé through this situation because you got to keep this game close.
Rays Flex Packs now come with one of 8 great gifts of your choice. Starting at just $59, Rays Flex Packs allow you to choose any 3, 6, or 9 games with no blackout dates. Plus, get half off parking when using the funds loaded to your Rays card. For details, visit RaysBaseball.com or call 888-FAN-RAYS. The number 9 hitter, the catcher, Roberto Perez, steps in. And the pitch is a strike. Down the right field line. That is a foul ball. And a nice catch down there in foul territory. Fortunately for the Rays, that slice to the foul side of the pole.
Been a steady diet of breaking balls away from Perez. And he stays back, but look at that. Just a little bit too much action. And then there you go. Make a play. You never know.
A 2-strike count. Into center field. That sends Kiermaier back. Urshela's tagging. He's going to advance to third. First and third with 1 out. But Colomé, since the first inning, has caught a lot of the plate.
And elevated pitches. Yeah, balls out over the heart with some elevation to them. And that makes it a whole lot easier for the hitter. You better find your way down in the zone here. Kipnis, who's been red hot all season long, been hot against the Rays, and you need a ground ball double play here and get out of this inning.
You remember a couple starts ago when he struggled, and Jim Hickey spent some extra time with him.
Yeah.
Had him to keep that front shoulder tucked in and that top to bottom delivery.
That was before the Indians start.
This went off the glove of Cabrera. Still going to get a force at second. Urshela's going to cross the plate. Kipnis reaches. And Bourne, who was kind of caught in between, thinking the ball might be caught. And when Cabrera could not grab it out of the air, he still had time to get the force.
Well, that's absolutely the right play by Michael Bourne, because you cannot take off there and be doubled up. The defensive placement there of Asdrubal Cabrera takes that hit away from Jason Kipnis, but not being able to come up with it cleanly allows Urshela to score, and now the Indians tack on another one.
So it's 5-0 with Kipnis at first. Here's Aviles, and he swings and misses. Mike Aviles singled and scored in the third. In on him, and it's fouled back out of play. Well, the Blue Jays beat Boston 11-2. Home runs galore. Donaldson hit number 19. Encarnacion hit number 17. Bautista hit number 16. Justin Smoke hit 2, 6, and 7. One from each side of the plate, by the way. Aviles sends a fly ball to center. Kiermaier handles that. They score one, and the Indians lead 5-0. By your Tampa Bay Mazda dealers and by Checkers. Mix and match our famous Big Buford and Big Chicken Deluxe. Get 2 for $5. Braves will send the top of the order to the plate in the fourth with Kevin Kiermaier. The pitch is a strike to Kevin. Joey Butler will be next, and then Evan Longoria. One and one. 2 balls and a strike.
How many times have we seen Carrasco, when down in the count, come back with that hard slider, hard cutter, whatever you want to call it? He's used that pitch a lot tonight. He's used it a lot when he's been down in the count in order to keep this Rays lineup off balance, and it's working.
And in terms of frequency this year to left-handed hitters, that's been about his 3rd pitch.
Oh, yeah.
But he's used it very effectively tonight behind in the count. And there is strike 3 call.
That right there is the byproduct. We've seen him throw that pitch behind in the count. We've seen him use that pitch in a full count. So then all of a sudden you clutter a hitter's head with a lot of info. Oh, is he going to come with the slider? I've seen him throw a full count changeup. And then he just throws nothing more than a fastball in the outer half, and you're completely locked up. That's what happens. That's why it becomes so effective.
It's 10 in a row retired by the right-hander Carlos Carrasco. Now Joey Butler swinging through the first one. That's a strike. And he's down 0-2. Slider and then the fastball. 2 strikes.
Sinker, slider, slider, and then that two-seamer down underneath the swing.
Pitches darting in different directions, and Carrasco's in command right now. Two and two. And that pitch just moved away from him. Back-to-back strikeouts, 6 in the game.
Now you can only hold out for so long. 2 close takes by Joey Butler after falling down 0-2, and then finally ready to swing the bat. You see the hips open a little bit too early. The ball's moving away, and you get the wave.
Now it's Evan Longoria. Fouls a fastball in on his fist, and he fouls it away. Oh-2.
But he has been so good with that pitch. Really hasn't missed location. He's throwing it so hard off of that very good fastball. You keep waiting for him to make a mistake with it, and he's not. And there's not much you can do when he executes.
Chop foul. Well, that's one thing that Kevin Cash was saying earlier about the club being in this stretch. He says, look, we run into some really good pitching, and that is true. And the basic premise is that if a pitcher makes his pitches, you're not going to get hits. And Carrasco's making some very good pitches tonight.
He just keeps working one side of the plate, then moves to the other, then just back and forth. You know, for the most part, everything's been hard. I mean, even the changeup is 90 miles an hour, 89 miles an hour. But he's been moving the ball back and forth, in and out, in and out.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And when you talk about the ball moving in two different directions, he throws that fastball that darts in on your hands, and then the slider. I mean, they had some movement. Ground ball up the middle. Kipnis right there for it, and they throw out Longoria. 3 up, 3 down for the 4th consecutive inning. We go to the 5th. It's 5-0 Cleveland.
Faces down here in the bullpen. You know the Rays have been using their bullpen extensively this year. We have Preston Guillemette and also C.J. Riefenhauser, who just stepped to the back, adding to the roster. Here are the moves that corresponded with last night. Kirby Yates goes back to AAA Durham, and Ronald Belisario is designated for assignment. So the new faces, Guillemette, the righty, and Riefenhauser, the lefty. Guys, as you may know, during the course of the year, sometimes the backpack that heads down to the bullpen is changed out. And this current homestand, they've been using this a little bit, the Batman backpack, and it hasn't been the best homestand so far. So you may not be seeing this Batman backpack much longer. They're calling it the Dark Knight based on what's been going on lately. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, the Rays have been anything but Batman during this homestand, so they may have to change that out and see if they can't get some offense somehow started. Michael Brantley here in the 5th with a count of 1-0. Fouls it. The count is 1-1.
We need to think of a good replacement for Batman, because that, like you said, that's not working unless, you know, maybe they get it going in the second half of this ball game and explode tomorrow. So at that point, maybe you keep it. But other than that, you have to start thinking ahead. And what do you get to replacement?
2-1.
That's about the same idea that I had.
Something irreverent.
Well,
I'd vote for Peter Griffin. Cabrera takes care of this one. And Brantley is out of there. You know, not only has Batman not brought the Rays many runs, but apparently it's difficult to activate. He's not cooperative at all. Todd had a difficult time preparing for that. Here's David Murphy.
Just going to leave that alone.
There's a strike to Murphy. Well, we could go to a much better place. Jake Odorizzi says after his outing tonight that he felt pre-injury tonight. So that's a good sign. Cut the miss. 0-2.
Jake Odorizzi really mixing it up with his descriptions. You know, like pre-injury during, after the ball game, the bullpen session was exemplary, which I thought was a tremendous use of the word. He really wants to be back here now.
Yes, he does.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. Not just feeling great.
No.
Exemplary, pre-injury. Hey, are you listening?
Anybody?
Fly ball to right. Susie Jr. is there. Murphy is the second out. 2 up and 2 down.
Number 41, Carlos Santana.
Now Carlos Santana. Santana walked and scored a run in the second. He popped out to Colomé in the third. Oh, that pitch, he tried to bunt, and it deflects off. Not only is a foul ball, but it catches Casale. And Santana ducking, bunting, and Casale taking that foul ball.
Up and in, off the bat, off the thumb of the glove.
Wanted to strike. 0-2. Yeah, catchers just hate that, especially when the pitcher's got that little great movement on it. It catches it on the thumb. Not good.
Well, you see a lot of these guys will have that thumb guard. It almost formed to their thumb. Have it made. Wear it over your thumb inside the glove to protect it and to keep it in place, because that thumb takes a beating. It takes a beating, when you're just making just a regular run-of-the-mill catch, let alone any foul tip or anything that comes off the thumb of that glove.
Yeah, it's hard to get that well, too, once you get that injury. That tends to stay with you until the offseason.
You treat it and you try to maintain. Don't allow it to get worse. Maintain it, because it's probably not going to improve that much. And that's why, like I said, you have some of these things that are made to slip around that thumb, over that thumb, before you put it into the glove to help with the stability.
Strike 3 call. Santana called out on strikes. 1, 2, 3. Go the Indians. 5-0 Cleveland. Tonight's game and all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Here's David DeJesus to lead it off. Logan Forsythe next, and then Steven Souza Jr. The pitch is a first pitch strike. 12 in a row retired by Carlos Carrasco to start this game. Danny Salazar started last night's game by retiring the first 15. 0-2 the count on that foul ball. I mean, take a look at this. Those are some good young arms, to be sure. Cody Anderson, 6 1/3 perfect, 5 perfect for Salazar, and now 4 for Carrasco. And Jesus is out on strikes.
And think about the way that Carrasco has been doing it here tonight. He's had that fastball away from lefties, in on righties with tremendous sinking action and great velocity. Now he's started to break out the curveball, has already established that slider, has sprinkled in a few changeups. He's using some of his secondary pitches when he's behind in the count. I mean, this streak right here, like you said, some good young arms, but come on.
Well, you looked at that stretch there, starting with Anderson. You know, he had a perfect game for 6 1/3. He started by retiring those men in order, obviously. Then last night, 15 straight by Salazar. Carrasco working his way toward that.
The Rays are hitting .070 in the series. They're 5 for 71.
The Mets in June of 1969 had Jim McAndrew and Nolan Ryan in back-to-back games throw 5 perfect innings to start their outings. And the Indians have done that and then some in this series. That was a 22-year-old Nolan Ryan and a 25-year-old Jim McAndrew. Ground ball down to third. Urshela and a scoop at first. Nicely done by Santana. And that's 14 in a row. To try to find a club with 3 pitchers in a row to start their outings by retiring the first 15. Stats Inc. says it's beyond their capability to research that. That's how rare it is.
I don't believe you. Although I do see it written down over there.
There it is.
Beyond its capability.
Yeah. Elias might know in time. Got to give him some time. How about that? In the information age, it's beyond our capability. You got to give us time. 2 strikes now, the count on Steven Souza Jr. A little tapper foul. I mean, this is what we're seeing here is just quite amazing. What Anderson did Monday, followed by Salazar last night and Carrasco tonight. Complete shutdown starts. Ooh, close, and it's 1-2.
And Danny Salazar did it. You know, he finished his outing yesterday with just 2 strikeouts. One of the most prolific strikeout starters in the American League, actually in Major League Baseball, only 2 strikeouts. Carrasco tonight is starting to rack up the strikeouts. He has been maybe the most impressive of the 3.
And a swing and a miss. That's 15 in a row set down by Carlos Carrasco to start this game. 3 up, 3 down again. 8 strikeouts, and it's 5-0 Cleveland. Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. We go to the 6th inning. Alex Colomé made 78 pitches through 5. Touched for 5 runs, 7 hits. Coming off a 1-2-3 fifth, and he'll face Brandon Moss to begin the 6th. This pitch is a strike. Moss doubled in 2 runs back in the 2nd. He is 1 for 2. It's fouled outside of first. 0-2. Pitch is outside, 1-2. History tells us that there could be hope. When Jim McAndrew started his game in June of '69, retiring 15 in a row, the Mets won that game 5-0 over the Phillies. The next night, Nolan Ryan started his game, retiring the first 15 in a row, but the Mets lost that game in 10 innings, 6-5.
That was last night's game. We're on to the 3rd now.
And they're still researching the 3rd.
Well, then you never know. You never know. Yeah, and I think that Carrasco tonight, his pitches, how many has he missed out over the heart of the plate? Can't pick one out.
Long fly ball off the bat of Moss, and Kiermaier is there on the track to make the catch. So that's the first out here in the 6th inning. Let's hear from Rich Hollenberg now. Rich?
Thanks, Dwayne. Web Wednesday continues. You can tweet your questions at Sun Sports Raised, hashtag AskRays, or go to Gmail at sunsportsraised@gmail.com. We already had one question for you earlier. Now we have a new one. This is for you, BA, and it shows that not only are the fans watching and listening at the same time. I heard you the other night talking about Nathan Carnes pitching a lot from the stretch instead of the windup. We've seen Alex Colomé do a lot of the same tonight. What's the difference, and which is more difficult, BA?
Well, Really, the only difference is that, working out of the stretch, obviously you have base runners aboard. The pitches are typically more in that high leverage because potential runners in scoring position, all the above. What you want to end up doing is you don't want one to be harder than the other. There's one that you'd prefer to be in, and that's the windup because nobody's on. But you really should be able to tailor your windup and your stretch to be the same. Your stretch is almost just like halfway through your windup, and so you want to make both of them comfortable. But at the same time, Nathan Karns, we brought him up because he was out of the stretch the entire game. And so when you're pitching like that, that's a lot of high leverage pitches that he had to throw. In fact, Dwayne, what was it? At one point, we had him for 14 pitches out of the windup and over 60 closing in on 70 out of the stretch. You do not want that kind of ratio. The fact that he came out of that ball game giving up 2 runs in 6 innings is a credit to his work in some pretty tough situations.
What kind of effect did you notice? Some pitchers will talk about velocity. More velocity out of the windup than the stretch. Significant or not?
Not significant, but I could see that. Out of the windup, sometimes you get into that really good rhythm. You got a lot of parts moving, and you're able to sometimes generate a higher leg kick and really drive the ball downhill. Where out of the stretch, maybe if you're a right-hander, you're trying to speed things up a little bit, not as high of a leg kick. But I think guys have really, done a great job of being able to tailor their windup and their stretch to not really lose that much. You see some guys, look at the guys tonight, Carrasco and Colome have they've got modified. Carrasco pitches the whole game out of the stretch. His stuff doesn't suffer at all, and he doesn't even have a windup. So it's just something that you work on, and you've got to come up with something that's comfortable, both ways.
Well, he has shut the door on the Rays tonight without question. 2 outs, 1 and 2 the count on Michael Bourne here in the 6th.
Dwayne, you'll appreciate this because you got a chance to watch him pitch his entire career. But Greg Maddux, when he would talk about the windup and the stretch, would say that he would throw all of his bullpens out of the stretch. Why? Because that's where you had to make all your pitches in tough situations, and that's what he wanted to work on.
Yeah, your most important pitches came out of the stretch. And that's why he worked on that. 3 up, 3 down, bottom of the 6th. 5-0 Cleveland. Down.
Indians starting pitchers in this series have been so impressive. This may be the best yet through 5 innings. Carlos Carrasco can't remember a pitch that he's missed out over the heart of the plate, and he has complete command of his entire arsenal right now to both sides of the plate. The fastball, that slider, we've seen the curveball come on a little bit, a few changeups sprinkled in. He has been flawless.
As Drupal Cabrera is going to open the 6th inning, he hit the home run off him up in Cleveland in a 2-for-3 game. And he takes the first pitch for ball 1. Carrasco has at least one strikeout in every inning, 8 in the game. One and one to count to Cabrera. Cabrera coming into this one over the last couple of weeks in 12 games had hit .356. Strokes it foul. Takes the count to a ball, 2 strikes. Cabrera's out on strikes. Breaking ball got him. Let's make it more complicated.
Early in the game, it was the slider moving down and in, not even down and in, more in. This is more of the curveball with some depth that he's going with now. So a couple of different variations of the breaking ball to go after Rays hitters to go along with that mid-90s fastball.
Yeah, that's like his 4th best pitch. 16 in a row retired. Here's Mark Krause. Fastball in off the plate, 1-0. One and one. Two balls and a strike. The pitch wide, a fastball in the mid-90s. And a strike call there by Adrian Johnson. 2-2. Johnson might be getting into the spirit of things.
I was just about to go into how that was an impressive take from Mark Krause on a very tough pitch. But Adrian Johnson, different idea. Right at the bottom of the zone, he calls it.
And there is strike 3 call. A fastball away. So back-to-back strikeouts here in the 6th inning.
Carrasco has been so good that he's now getting the benefit of the doubt on any pitch that's close.
And you know, that's something that Adrian Johnson, relatively speaking, a young umpire, he's just 40 years old, he's not inclined to give a pitcher the benefit of the doubt over and over. It's a line drive going to be caught by Aviles, and Casale is out of there. 18 up, 18 down for Carlos Carrasco. He's been perfect. We'll go to the 7th, 5-0 Cleveland. field tonight. Time to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use the hashtag #SSDataStrongFan. And you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. 90 pitches for Alex Colomé as he opens the 7th inning against the Cleveland catcher, Roberto Perez. The pitch is too low. Cutting a miss. Fastball up and by him. 1-1. He's starting to get some action down in the bullpen area. The strike, it's 1-2. C.J. Riefenhauser goes back with the club. The lefty starts to limber up. That'll take care of Perez. He is out on strikes. Here's what's coming up Friday on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Chris Archer will be on the hill in New York against Masahiro Tanaka. And Orestes will break down Yankee first baseman Mark Teixeira. We'll be with you at 6:30 from New York on Friday. Here's Jason Kipnis. And the pitch is a strike. Colomé has now retired a number of these Indian hitters in a row. 0-2.
Well, he started to clean up a little bit midway through the ball game. The leadoff base runner, him getting into the stretch, and the Indians able to put the first 2 men aboard in 3 straight innings, led to 3 straight innings of scoring runs, 2, 2, and 1. That gives them their 5, and that's when they really took control of this game.
Kipnis drove in a run with a fielder's choice in the 4th. He singled and scored in the 3rd. Down the right field line, hooking a bit. That ball's going to stay fair and will bound into the stands. Boy, that just was fair.
Yeah, and my man just picked up ball number 2.
Boy, you talk about position perfectly. He caught the foul ball earlier and now takes care of this one on one hop.
Boy, slider down and in, and you're right. How did he keep that fair? Right down the line, right inside the line, and right to the lefty.
Yeah, we've got to talk to that guy. He's got something going on.
Hey, listen, he goes to that spot and he has the glove. Has the glove ready, and he's now got a deuce.
A perfect fielding percentage. 1 strike the count. Well, that double by Kipnis is his 26th. He already leads the league in doubles. He just added 1 to that total. An 0-2 count on Mike Aviles. Ground ball. Forsythe with the pickup. 2 gone, and over to third goes Kipnis. He's there with 2 outs. Time to vote for your Rays All-Star. Vote 35 times on the 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot at RaysBaseball.com. Voting exclusively online and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Here's Michael Brantley. And the pitch is a strike. Brantley picked up an RBI with a single in the third when the Indians scored two. They scored 2 in the second, 2 in the third, and 1 in the fourth before Colome settled back in. Now they threaten in the 7th with 2 outs. Foul ball makes it 0-2. Top half of the 7th. Way high. 1-2. Colome a little over 100 pitches now to 103. Fly ball lifted into center. Kiermaier to his right to make the catch. Indians leave a man at third. 7th inning stretch time. 5-0 Cleveland. It was Cody Anderson retiring the first 19 men he faced. Last night, the Rays went 0 for 15 before Danny Salazar gave up a walk. And tonight, Carlos Carrasco has retired the first 18 men to face him. He's made 81 pitches. And we'll go into the bottom of the 7th of the Rays looking for their first base runner. Top of the order here, Kevin Kiermaier to begin the 7th. And there's a ground ball to first. Santana makes the play unassisted. 16 times this year in the major leagues, pitchers have been perfect through 6. 4 times versus the Rays in the last 7 days. And 1 out in the 7th. Here's Joey Butler. Butler 0 for 2. Takes the pitch inside. Butler homered off Carrasco up in Cleveland. And takes that pitch for ball 2. Carrasco's had 2 3-ball counts in this game. There's a strike 2 and 1. Here's the home run by Butler off Carrasco in Cleveland.
Yeah, and that was a missile. That ball got out of Progressive Field right now. On a fastball left out over the plate, something that Carrasco has not done at all here in tonight's start.
Oh, he picks up the outside corner there, and it's 2 and 2. Butler thought he was going to run the count to 3 and 1.
Yeah, but if it's borderline, and that's borderline, and that's right there on the edge. If it's borderline, it's going Carrasco's way. That's just the bottom line.
There is ball 3.
You got to think he's going to come back with that slider here.
He's not been afraid to do that. No. Behind in the count, and now he's full.
Oh, he just shook off of it. Oh, he's going to go hook.
3-2. And a foul ball. Butler forces another one.
Well, Roberto Perez went slider, shake, fastball away. Nope. Fastball in. Nope. Okay, how about the curveball? And then he goes to it. See what they try to do here.
This is the 3rd full count he's had tonight, and the 4th 3-ball count he's had. Three-two again, and a foul ball again. He was 3-1 to Longoria in the first, 3-2 to Krause in the third, 3-2 to Kiermaier in the fourth, and now 3-2 to Butler here in the 7th, and he has extended it with 2 foul balls on a 3-2 count. And the Rays have a base runner. So the Rays sent Butler to first on the walk. And boy, he battled for that walk.
Well, he went curveball, slider, and then changeup in a full count. So he's not real concerned. Has enough confidence in all of his pitches right now. So the Rays have a base runner, and that's.
Here's Evan Longoria. And that's a ball. Talked about Adrian Johnson, and if a pitch is close, the pitcher's likely to get it. It was Adrian Johnson who was the plate umpire here when Edwin Jackson threw the no-hitter against the Rays for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And in that game, Jackson gave up 8 walks and made 149 pitches. And Adrian Johnson was behind the plate for that no-hitter. Up with that pitch, a fastball. It's 2-1. Ground ball to first. They step on the bag. Now the rundown ensues. Santana will tag Butler, and so he still faced only the minimum number as Butler is erased in the rundown after Longoria grounded to the first baseman Santana, and that set off the rundown. There's Santana for the second out, and now the rundown. Kipnis and back to Santana. On this day in 2003, the Devil Rays win in truly walk-off fashion over the Red Sox with 2 outs in the 11th inning. Rocco Baldelli scores from second base. Brandon Lyons' wild pickoff attempt sailed into center field, and with nobody to back him up, Baldelli scored, and the Devil Rays got that win.
Baldelli doesn't score if Kiermaier's playing center field for the Red Sox in 03.
Absolutely true. The center fielder was very deep. Travis Lee was going to be the next hitter. I think they were concerned about him driving one over somebody's head.
No doubles.
Yeah.
No homers.
C.J. Riefenhauser takes over now for Colomé. And the pitch to David Murphy. This is actually Ryan Rayburn pinch hitting for Murphy, and that's a strike. So Murphy, who had singled and had driven in a run with a fly ball, lifted. Rayburn puts a high pop foul near the stands, and it comes back and is not caught. Krause had to go down to the bullpen. It appeared that that ball might go into the stands, and it came back, and he had a difficult time picking it up.
Takes his eyes off it right there, last minute. Maybe distracted by a fan with that glove up, but you could see his eyes leave the baseball for just a split second, and it cost him.
The 0-2, down and in. Two. Carlos Santana's on deck. The count is full. 7 innings for Colomé. Gave up 8 hits, 5 runs, all earned. He walked 1, struck out 3. Made 104 pitches and leaves trailing 5-0. Rayburn fouls it back. Top of the 8th. Indians 5 runs, 8 hits. Zeros across the board for the Rays. No runs, no hits. There is ball 4. So an extended at bat, and Rayburn draws the walk. Tonight's Wednesday showdown is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. The Indians scored early, 2 in the second, 2 in the third, and 1 in the fifth. The Rays did not get their first base runner until the 7th inning with 1 out when Butler walked. Been the only base runner for the Rays. Now Rayburn has walked to open the 8th for the Indians, and there's ball 1 to Carlos Santana. One and one. Two balls and a strike. Driven toward the right field corner. That's a fair ball and bounds out of play. That's going to stop Rayburn at third on the ground rule double.
Well, Riefenhauser, who's been struggling throwing strikes and with command of the strikes that he is throwing, gets a breaking ball here that just stays up, spinning. Carlos Santana gets a good look at it. He's able to keep it fair, and the Indians once again threaten. Well, I don't know if you've noticed the same thing, and I know that the results have not gone the way that the Rays would like. We talk about them being a resilient team all the time, but this team looks tired. This team, you know, and listen, 3 straight games of 5 perfect innings being pitched against them. There's a lot not going their way, but there's no life right now. It looks like a team in dire need of a day off. And I don't see any on the horizon. In fact, I see a quick turnaround tomorrow.
Yep, day game tomorrow, and then the Rays hit the road, go to New York and Kansas City, so it doesn't get easier.
No, and then come home for the Astros. You got some tough series coming up here.
Brandon Moss looks at a strike. Oh, 2. Well, the Rays get Matt Moore back tomorrow, and he'll go up against Corey Kluber. One ball, 2 strikes. Moss doubled in 2 runs back in the second. High fly ball deep into right center, and that ball is gone. Boy, did he nail that one. A 3-run home run for Moss, and that's going to make it 8-0. We talked earlier tonight about the ball he hit during batting practice when he hit the C ring in right center field, and he made a bid to hit it with this blast.
I thought he was going to get it. Boy, that ball elevated middle of the plate. Boy, look at him get on top of it and then roll over after the solid contact. That ball was so much carry deep into right center and high. Boy, that was launched.
So 3 runs home here with nobody out in the 8th. High fly ball off the bat of Giovanni Urshela into foul territory and out of play. The 13th home run for Moss. He has a 5 RBI night. Down the right side, that's going to be a foul ball out of reach. Two strikes to the count. Popped up, foul ball back. Casale gives it a run, but it's out of play. Well, as we look at our Toyota trends, and the trend at home not close to what the Rays would hope it would be.
That you don't see a disparity. You may see it flipped, 21-12 at home, 21-25 on the road. You very rarely see something like that. It starts down there with the pitching numbers, and unfortunately now the hitting numbers are starting to take a little bit of a hit. But you know, right down here with the starters, and by no means is 3.36 poor. You know, but 2.71 on the road. But when you're only getting 3.5 runs or averaging 3.5 runs, that means every game is a toss-up. And so the overall, the numbers don't surprise you. That bullpen ERA has not been very good either here at home.
Close to 4.5 now. Longoria makes a nice play to get Urshela for the first out here in the 8th.
And a lot of that has to do with what we've seen the first 3 games of this series. You know, the Rays fall down early. They're going to go to the bullpen, and all of a sudden the Indians have been just tacking on a couple here, a couple there, 3-run homer by Moss. That's not going to help your bullpen numbers.
Here's Michael Bourne. Bourne singled in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 3. Now 1-1. Two and 2. Well, Japan beat England 2-1 in the Women's World Cup semifinals. And that'll set it up for Sunday night, where the USA will meet Japan. It's a rematch of the World Cup final in 2011.
Did you see how Japan ended up winning that game?
How about that?
Own goal. Mm-hmm. Own goal with a minute left in extra time.
Bourne out on strikes. Yeah, England kicked the ball into its own net.
Are we really talking about this?
Pitching change coming. It's an 8-0 ball game. Cleveland with 3 runs home in the 8th inning. Carlos Carrasco has 7 no-hit innings under his belt. He's sitting patiently in the dugout. Preston Guillemette on to face Roberto Perez, the catcher. 3-run home run by Brandon Moss in this inning. One and one. Two balls and a strike. Top of the 8th is over. Indians have built an 8-0 lead. Tonight.
What can you say about it? I mean, you got a little bit of help defensively there, but other than that, it's been the Carlos Carrasco show. 7 innings, no hits, no runs, does have the 1 walk, double digits already in strikeouts. And that was the full count against Joey Butler, where he went curveball, slider, and changeup, all of that 3-2 count before issuing the walk, which he promptly then erased him on a double play.
David DeJesus has taken the first pitch for a ball. He is grounded out and struck out tonight. It's fouled out of play. Ten strikeouts in the game for Carrasco. A strikeout in every inning except the 7th. He has 1 complete game this year. That was for 8 innings in a losing effort. Kipnis takes care of that. DeJesus out on the ground ball to second.
Number 11, Logan.
7 1/3 of no-hit baseball for Carrasco. Here's Logan Forsythe. Pitch is a strike. Carrasco had a 2-hitter last September in Houston against the Astros. That was September 17th. He's ahead of Forsythe 0-2. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Forsythe came into the game 3 of 6 against Carrasco, 0 for 2 tonight. And down in the count. And he's out on strikes. Boy, that pitch disappeared. He continues to make great pitches.
He's been effective when pitching from behind because the assortment of pitches that he will use. He's been deadly when out in front because he forces you to protect and chase.
Now Steven Souza Jr. 2 strikeouts on the night. And there's strike 1. Starts him with a slider. Quickly ahead, nothing in 2.
The story of the night is that combination. Slider away off the end of the bat, then that hard sinker in under the swing where it ties you up. Now everything is open to Carrasco.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Tapper foul.
And you wonder if they'll try that again because Roberto Perez, you can see him asking for that pitch down. He was using his catcher's mitt to tap the ground, like bounce this thing, get it down there. You know, you don't have to worry about, if you're Carrasco, you have to worry about the perfect game anymore. So you can expand and let your catcher make a block.
And he strikes out Souza. 1, 2, 3, go the Rays again. 12 strikeouts. No hits through 8. Boy, that pitch under the bat of Souza Jr. 8-0 as we go to the 9th. Radiation Oncology. When cancer strikes, strike back with CyberKnife. By Kubota. For more information, go to FloridaKubotaDealers.com. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. We're moving into the 9th inning. Jason Kipnis leads off for Cleveland. And the pitch is upstairs. It's Jake Elmore, who's now in the game for the Rays at third base. And a ground ball, backhanded it short by Cabrera, and a nice play right there to get Kipnis.
Hey, Dwayne, coming up on our Rays Live post-game show after the game, the Rays hoping to avoid what would be their 6th either no-hitter or perfect game in franchise history against them. We'll also have interviews from the Rays clubhouse. Manager Kevin Cash, Rich Hollenberg on hand to gather those. I'll host with Orestes Estrada and Doug Wechter. Want to tell you a story after this first pitch here from Guillermo Mike Aviles as we have 1 out in the 9th inning. Joel Powell, as a ball is hit high into the air, has had season tickets for 9 years down here in foul territory, right near the foul pole here in right. He's a friend of all the guys in the bullpen, slaps hands with everyone. Never caught a foul ball before tonight. 9 years, 0 foul balls tonight too. How about those odds, guys? Back to you.
And a hearty hand clasp right there for a good night for Joe, with 2 souvenirs and 2 plays made perfectly.
No, okay, 9 years, same seat, no foul balls. Probably the same odds as what we've seen from Indians pitching in this series.
Avili sends a fly ball into center. Kiermaier is there to make the catch. So 2 outs in the 9th.
Left fielder, Michael Brantley.
Michael Brantley up here with the bases empty. Brantley takes the pitch inside, 1-0. Ground ball back to the mound. Met with the toss to first. So the Indians are up and down 1-2-3 in their half of the 9th inning. Carlos Carrasco prepares to head to the mound in the bottom of the 9th inning. Through 8, he has faced 24 hitters. He gave up a walk in the 7th inning, but got a double play. So he's faced the minimum number of Rays hitters, but has given up no hits.
And I will guarantee you that Carlos Carrasco, probably a very good teammate, really happy that his guys went out 1-2-3 in the top of the 9th so that he could get back out there and get to work, because he has been absolutely fantastic. As well pitched game as we've seen in a long time, and that's saying something the way the Indians have been throwing the ball in this series. But he's had 4 pitches, he's mixed them very, very well, and you tell me the last time you saw him miss a pitch out over the heart of the plate. There was the one walk to Joey Butler on a full count changeup, but it has been get ahead and expand. Sinkers in mid-90s, fastball away mid-90s, the slider at 90s, throwing the curveball 83, 84, the changeup, full command of everything. And look at that line, 12 strikeouts, speaks to the dominance.
Cleveland starters have been toying with this in this series. The Indians have not had a no-hitter since Lynn Barker threw the perfect game against the Blue Jays on the 15th of May in 1981. It's been that long.
I was a very young kid, had that game on the radio. I was at a buddy's house, and we were boxing in the basement with boxing gloves, listening to the game, trying to knock each other out. It was 9.
That explains a lot. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. It's Jubal Cabrera, who has struck out twice in this game, will lead off, the former Cleveland Indian, facing Carlos Carrasco. The pitch is bounced foul. That's a strike. Cabrera in Cleveland on the 19th of June hit a home run off Carrasco, and Cabrera's first at bat of that game. He later singled, went 2 for 3 against him, but 2 strikeouts tonight. And a foul ball. Cabrera perhaps has been the hottest hitter the Rays have had over the last couple of weeks, coming into this game hitting .356 in 12 games.
Carrasco has put himself in a position here where in an 0-2 count he can now look to expand the zone. He's in a perfect position to exploit this count.
One ball, 2 strikes. Off speed is low. And a new baseball into play. Brandon Guyer has moved into the on-deck circle. And the pitch is down. He started to go, but did not offer. Jim Wolf down there in third, confirming a no swing.
Clearly.
And there is ball 3. Slider biting down and in, a close pitch.
How do you not swing? How do you not swing if you're Asdrubal Cabrera? Very good take on a ball moving in off the plate.
And he bounces this one foul. So quite a battle going on here between Cabrera and Carrasco to open the bottom of the 9th inning.
Well, he was down 0-2. Didn't look very good at that point, but some good takes. And here he is. Full count.
And there is ball 4 wide. So the Rays get their second base runner. Butler walked in the 7th. Cabrera has opened the 9th for the Rays with a walk. And now it'll be Brandon Guyer. And that pitch hits Guyer. So Guyer is hit by a pitch, and he'll go to first. 2 men on now with nobody out in the 9th.
Well, you know that the adrenaline is running high. Obviously, Carrasco frustrated at being up in the count 0-2 against Asdrubal Cabrera before issuing the walk, and then overthrowing that fastball and hitting Brandon Guyer.
So Guyer hit for the 11th time this year. He's at first. Grady Sizemore will now pinch hit for Casale. It's 114 pitches for Carrasco, and that matches his season's high when he pitched that 8-inning complete game in a 5-1 loss at Texas. He made 114 pitches in that game. And a ground ball to the left side, backhanded by Aviles, out at second, and it'll be first and third. Aviles, a nice play to get the force out on the toss to Kipsis at second.
Now that ball looked like maybe it was going to have some eyes and sneak out into left field. You see Aviles shading up the middle. Got to move away to his right, and then able to a little jump throw over to Kipnis at second base to get the lead runner. Well, not the lead runner, the force out. Runner's now first and third with 1 out.
Well, here's Kevin Kiermaier. Be interesting because if they didn't have a man on, that might have been a hit. They got the force and a cut and a miss by Kiermaier. Kiermaier 0 for 3. Takes one wide. 1-1. Two balls and a strike. The pitch count mounting up here for Carrasco. 1 out in the 9th, men at first and third. Kiermaier taps it foul. 2-2.
If I was Carlos Carrasco in this situation, 2-2 count, I would say to myself, I'm throwing 2 curveballs. 2 curveballs. I'm going to throw one here. He wants to take it. I'm going to throw him another one.
And he fouls the fastball away. Carrasco opened the ninth by issuing the walk to Cabrera, who's now at third. He hit Geyer. He was forced at second by Sizemore. 2-2. Kiermaier's out on strikes. A cut and a miss. Off speed.
He was going with that sinker away and get the foul ball, the reach swing by Kiermaier, and then look at this. Split. 88 out in front.
Thirteenth strikeout for Carrasco. First and third, 2 outs in the ninth. He has not given up a hit. And Joey Butler, the only man right now standing in his way. And he fouls it, strike one.
Now he's been effective against Joey Butler with the slider, working the slider away early, trying to get him to chase as he gets ahead. We've also seen him come with that sinker in under the swing. Let's see if he stays with that game plan. No reason to really change here, especially as you continue to work ahead.
And a cut and a miss. 2 strikes the count. Well, he started a little wobbly in the ninth, but he's a pitch away from a no-hitter. And a line drive base hit over the head of Kipnis. Cabrera scores. Sizemore to third, and there goes the no-hitter. It's 8-1. 1 pitch away.
Slider right to the outside corner. You know, in that moment, you don't want to say anything, let that thing breathe a little bit, but you're thinking 0-2 count, nothing near the plate. Nothing. Make him chase. That ball a little too close, and Butler able to get it out into right center.
Well, Carrasco applauding the effort by Kipnis on that liner into right center, and so he departs. Oh, what a night for Carrasco. 1 strike away from a no-hitter, and Joey Butler breaks it up with a clean line single. Eight and 2/3. Well, a great performance by the 28-year-old right-hander. Indians haven't had a no-hitter since 1981. It came about as close as you could come. 1 pitch away tonight.
Now, he was absolutely dominant. He stayed out of the middle of the plate. He had all of his pitches working. He really was just confounding this Rays lineup. There was a walk, and that was after a tough battle and a full count, a couple of foul balls by Joey Butler. But then you get ahead and expand, and that's what he was doing so very well until that last slider to Joey Butler. And here he is coming out for the ninth, and he was amped up. He's is that strikeout of Kevin Kiermaier. Now one hitter, one pitch away to be.
Well, it was Butler who walked to become the first base runner in the 7th, who breaks up the no-hitter in the 9th. And now Austin Adams is in here facing Jake Elmore, who fouls the first pitch away. Strike one. One ball, one strike. Two balls and a strike. Adams got that one up there at 99. Into the screen, evens the count at 2-2. Well, what a positive reaction by Carlos Carrasco. You know that has to hurt, coming within one strike of a no-hitter and a great performance tonight. And he saw his teammate Kipnis trying to climb the air to get to that line drive, and he applauded his effort.
Classy gesture, obviously a great teammate. I wonder how many times he will replay that final pitch, though.
There is ball 3. 3-2. Well, the Indian pitchers flirting with that throughout the whole series. Cody Anderson retired the first 19 Monday. Danny Salazar retired the first 15 last night. Carlos Carrasco 1 out away, 1 pitch away from a no-hitter tonight. Popper into short center, caught by Michael Bourne to end this game. The Rays avoid being no-hit for the 6th time in their career, in their franchise history. They get 1 run on 1 hit, and the Indians have taken this one 8-1 on a night dominated by Carlos Carrasco, who gets his 10th win of the year. He is 10-6. Colome, the loser, 3-4. 8-10-0 for Cleveland. 4 left, 1-1 and 1 for the Rays, with 2 men left on base. Before 11,394, took 2 hours and 44 minutes to play this game. Carrasco greeting his teammates as they come off the field. Carrasco came out for the 9th inning, having faced just 24 hitters through 8, giving up just a walk, no hits. In the 9th, he struck out Kiermaier for the 2nd out, and then Joey Butler down 0-2 lines a slider over the head of Kipnis at 2nd, driving in the run and breaking up the no-hit bid. And a classy exit by Carlos Carrasco, and a classy performance all the way around for the 28-year-old right-hander. Well, the Indians defeat the Rays tonight 8-1. And the same 2 teams tomorrow afternoon will wrap up this homestand for the Rays. We'll be with you next on Friday night from New York against the Yankees. Our coverage begins at 6:30. For Ron Anderson and the rest of our crew, Dwayne Stats, hope you've enjoyed the telecast and not the outcome. Rays Live, the postgame, comes your way next, presented by Checkers.